Year one, I got one. Year two, I got two. Year three, I got eight. Year four, I got 26. Year five, I got 80. Year six, I got 153. So the growth was like exponential. And I think
Welcome back to the Money Seed Podcast. Today, my guest is Brian Grimes. Brian has an amazing story of how he started out with real estate a few years back and now has grown to quite a large empire in Philadelphia. Brian knows all about real estate, has his own real estate YouTube channel, his own mentorship program, and Brian has found amazing levels of success in real estate. Brian, welcome to the show.
thanks for having me.
Brian, before we get into your backstory of how you got into real estate, give us a quick snapshot of where you are right now. How big is your team? How many different properties are you owning / managing? Where are you right now on the journey?
I mean, I've done, over 300 gut jobs on buy and hold rental properties. So I'm not a big fan of selling. I mean, the saying is, I've never met a developer who didn't regret selling a property because, they always appreciate and there's more cash flow. Rents in Philly just went up on Section 8, 30 to 60% on October 1st. So, hanging on to these portfolios is really the key long term. But how I describe my construction crew, I mean, at the peak, I would say pre-COVID, maybe 150 in-house guys. Now I kind of keep it a little bit more scattered, but I'll describe it as like on any given Sunday, I can put up the bat signal and, 150 contractors will come, running out and banging hammers. So, big construction crew. I'm currently probably building through about 18 projects at once right now, some in Philly, some in Baltimore. And I just stay busy. I have a back office team of virtual assistants that really support the operation. I'm not a one-man army, but my team is really powerful. I always just say, Michael Jordan could beat anybody one-on-one, but he's not going to beat me one-on-100, even if I'm a scrub. So I just have a big team that I train well, and together we're just, more powerful than your average bear.
And Brian, we'll get into just how you built the team and how anyone can build a team. But let's go back to the beginning. How did you get in your first property?
I did the FHA House Hack. So it's like everybody I talk to who's a developer or real estate investor, that's how you kind of start off. You want to get the biggest multifamily cash flowing property you can. So you do a FHA House Hack, maybe a 3-unit. I was going to live in. This one was a duplex with like a legal basement unit that I was going to live in and then rent out the two above me. Ended up getting a job out of town in New York because this deal was in Philly. And I never even moved in. I moved straight up to New York. Ended up renting out the whole building. It was cash flowing me about $1,000 a month from day one. So I got my, $6-7 grand that I put into it back in the first 7 months, and it's just like a cash cow. So that was my first deal. And number 2 was another multi. Number 3 was a cosmetic renovation, and then by number 4, 5, and 6, those were like full gut jobs, and I was just diving in.
So a lot of people think that you need a ton of money to get started in real estate. How much money did it take to get in your first property?
My first deal, I negotiated a seller's assist on the first deal, and I only put down like 3.5%. So I actually ended up acquiring a duplex for $130,000. I only came out of pocket $5 grand to get that first deal because of the creative financing structuring that I was engaging in at this time. I had studied already for like 2 years while I saved because I was a brokey, and I might have made I was working 100% commission. I probably made $6,000-7,000 my first year of working. So I essentially paid in gas and tolls to work. So I didn't have much money to put out. So I just got creative, put down about $5 grand, and I got my first deal.
Amazing. And so from there on, tell us, how quickly did you grow?
I always describe, I would say the human mind is wired to think linearly. So I always thought my plan was I'm going to buy one property a year, 10 years. I'll have 10 properties, maybe $1,000 a month per property or somewhere between, around that. And I'll be kind of out of the rat race. That was the goal. Year 1, I got 1. Year 2, I got 2. Year 3, I got 8. Year 4, I got 26. Year 5, I got 80. Year 6, I got 153. So the growth was like exponential. And I think as you build up your relationships and the lenders trust you and the contractors trust you, you pay people on time, you do good in this business, and that word kind of spreads around the ecosystem, and you can get that exponential growth.
One of the things I found quite interesting about your story is that when you acquire property and you rehab it, you don't try to do some minimal, like, just paint the walls or something. You go right down to the studs. Like you do like a gut job. Why
Yeah.
do you go to such lengths to rehab a property?
Well, it gets easier. So, like, when you watch HGTV, you watch Property Brothers, they run in the house, they start talking about what they're going to save and what they're going to keep and what's going to go. And then they open up the wrong wall and the budget gets blown up. And that happens even worse in real life. You don't, when you're just getting started, you don't have the acumen to really understand what a cosmetic job is versus what a full gut is. So you naturally think you're going to save more than you can, then you can't save it and you blow your budget. And this happens to everybody. When you're trying to scale an operation, when you're trying to grow exponentially, you need a simple system, because complex systems, they break at scale. You can't scale them because there's too many attack points and they break. So from a simplicity standpoint, you need to target something like gut renovations, because if you take the average contractor and you start them off with a clean slate, they can run really fast. You're just like, hey, put up the drywall, trim out the whole house, and do it the right way. Many guys can work very well at that scale. Very few guys can think their way through a property of what to keep and what to get rid of. And if you're not there standing right over them to make those decisions on the fly, you're going to be so inefficient in your time management that you're going to bleed out on labor. So I started to learn, if I wanted to scale, I needed a simple system, and there's nothing simpler than starting with the four walls. I mean, it's just, at that point, it's real life Legos. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. And those are the properties that most investors are afraid of anyway. So now you can buy them at a discount and then put in the crews, order all these materials at scale, get those savings, get a little warehouse, and you can start to scale up your operation and save at that economy of scale. So it just started to come together.
And how did you get your own team at the beginning? I mean, how did you vet your contractors? How did you vet your personal assistants? How did you start to grow your team at the beginning?
Failure. I mean, there's only two ways to learn. One is to go out in the school of hard knocks, and what nobody tells you is it's 100 times more expensive than mentorship. So you go out and you think, I'll figure it out. And then $100,000 later, or, like I did, I got burned by a GC for 40, 50 grand on my first big heavy development deal. Then you start to wake up and say, I better figure this out or I'm not going to be in this business. So I started off, I actually assembled a crew from that failed contractor. The GC ran off with money, but there were some subs around, and they were good guys. They had gotten burned too. So I assembled those subs and started to build organically around them. So to take them through deals, and then you kind of iterate. Some guys kind of come and go, and then you add in a new mason, a new plumber, a new electrician, and before you know it, you kind of have a team that can gel and that can execute on one deal at a time, and then you start lining up more food than they can eat. It's just like if you have boys for kids, you have like growing boys, like teenagers, you got to cook more food than they can eat or they're going to eat everything. So that's kind of the philosophy with the real estate, is I always line up more deals than they can do. And then you just keep that assembly line kind of flowing.
So it sounds like you're really busy, but like you said, I'm sure you got really good systems at this point. But walk us through, what does the typical day look like for you?
Geez, I say the life of a developer is putting out fires all day. So you should wake up, put on your fireman hat, and just wait for the phone to ring or that alarm to go off. But it's really, dealing with, I call it like air traffic control. I'm dealing with architects, engineers, permit expediters, plan examiners, dealing with my contractors and my deals. I'm building houses for some of my mentees from across the country and even outside of the country who are tapping into U.S. real estate. So I'm managing projects for others. I'm building my own houses. I'm kind of just like, I'm really God, family, and real estate, and in that order. Like, that's really just what I do all day. I will get up, I'll meditate, I'll go work out, and then it's just real estate all day until I crash. So I'm always doing some facet of it. It's wake up in the morning, do those things, work out. I'm looking at deals, seeing what deals hit the market, getting out offers, coordinating with contractors, talking to clients, talking to mentees, putting out content on YouTube and building out the channel and doing all those things. So I just surround myself with what I love.
So tell me, what do you think is the biggest hurdle for the average person to get into real estate?
The biggest hurdle is having a blueprint. Unfortunately, there's 101 ways to make money in real estate. It's like the gift and the curse. So then the question becomes, well, what is the way that I should choose? And the answer is, what obstacle are you facing? Some people are starting off and they have cash, but their credit is like jacked up. So they can't qualify with the bank. And then they think, oh, well, I guess I have to wait it out. They don't know that there are creative financing strategies out there where you can invest without credit at all. Like you don't need the bank at all. Just leverage the existing debt that's already on the properties. Some people are in priced out markets. So they want to invest, but they don't have enough cash in California to buy $1 million duplex. They have to learn how to invest out of town. So it's all about finding your issue, but then connecting with somebody who can plug you in and kind of sort through these issues and give you a blueprint so that you as an individual can be successful. There's a lot of like courses out there, but you really need somebody who will work with you one-on-one to identify your issue and then give you a blueprint to get to where you want to go. And I think that's most people's hurdle, is that they don't know enough and they haven't experienced it. So they can't choose the right path. And then they just get stuck in paralysis through analysis.
Speaking in general terms, if someone wants to get into real estate for the first time, how much money do you think they need to save up?
I think it's still the same answer, because you can invest without cash or credit. Like you really can. You can go out and do subject to lease purchase options, sandwich lease options. You can just do so many different creative financing strategies that you could start off with a couple grand, and get into a deal. You could start off wholesaling. But I would say if you want to get onto the burst strategy side of things, the buy and hold, gut renovations, and kind of some of these things where you can recycle capital, I would say somewhere between 25 to 50,000. 50,000 be very comfortable. 25,000, you can get it done. You will want like some credit cards. Definitely call all your credit card companies and increase those limits. But there are hard money lenders out here who give you 100% leverage. 100% of the money to buy and renovate properties. So if you have the knowledge, you need less money. And that's the thing I say. There's two things in real estate: money and knowledge. The less you have of one, the more you need of the other.
That's interesting. The more you have of one, the more. That's true.
Yeah.
Actually, never thought of it that way, but it makes sense. Yeah.
If you have $500,000, you can go out and just blow through $250,000. You'll figure it out. But if you don't, you better go out and invest in your education and your knowledge, because if you have $500,000 worth of knowledge or somebody else's mistakes, which would be like mentorship, then you could start off with 20K and get the same type of results and leverage. So it's really just about putting yourself in a winnable position. A winnable position is not what I did, getting burned for 40 grand by a GC on your first deal. Most people don't survive that.
Yeah, that sounds awful. I mean, out of curiosity, what was the outcome? Were you able to recover some of that in court or put lien against his properties? Or
Yeah, there's a funny thing about court. You can sue anybody and you could win, but that doesn't mean you're going to collect a dime. So you can get a judgment, but collecting on a judgment is a whole different ballgame. So no, yeah, we sue the guy, and you're not going to collect anything from a contractor. What are you going to do? Garnish their wages? They work for themselves. They're not going to garnish themselves. There's not much you can do. You just have to lick your wounds and kind of pick up the ball and try to keep running. But how we got saved was a community lender, a guy who owned a lot of commercial real estate and started a residential community lender. And he just walked in, saw the projects, believed in the mission. And in 3 days, he was like wiring in 160,000 into, an account. Like, I believe in the mission. I'm funding the deals. So he kind of came in, on a white horse and just saved the day, quite frankly, with a bag of cash.
And when you refer to the mission, Brian, are you referring to rehabbing properties in certain neighborhoods and just basically lifting up neighborhoods and improving them?
That's exactly it. I mean, look, I don't knock what anybody does. I don't knock gentrification. I don't knock any of it. Everybody's got to do, what they want to do. But part of my mission is rehabbing C-class neighborhoods across the country, and it's why I focus a lot on the neighborhoods that I do. I'm doing a lot of Section 8. I'm doing low income housing. I'm full gut renovating what some people would deem like the hood, because I want to make the C-class look like the A-class neighborhoods, look like Center City anywhere. But I also, I stepped back and looked at my impact. I went back into my neighborhoods that I grew up in. I built over 250 houses in Philly. And then I said, how can I have more impact? Well, there are two options. One, you can go build another 250 or 1,000, or I could go out and build 250 to 1,000 developers across the country who could go into their neighborhoods and rebuild them. And I've chosen that path as continuing the mission to have more of a national impact in these C-class neighborhoods across the country. Somebody's got to rebuild them and turn these things around.
I think what you're doing is pretty amazing. Brian, tell us a little bit more about your mentorship program.
Yeah. So the mentorship program, there's kind of like two models. One is done with you, one is done for you. So we do have a mentorship program, the 100 Keys Masterclass, where I work with people one-on-one through a series of Zoom calls where we'll custom game plan and strategize with you, and we'll give you access to the course content that will show you exactly how I scaled from 0 to over 300 properties, all the systems, virtual assistants, warehouse, like everything. But then we have a done for you model, my boots on the ground program, and that's where we just build the houses for you. So we'll find the deals, connect you with the 100% financing lenders. We'll rehab the properties with our in-house construction crews, guys I built hundreds of deals with. And then we have a full service property management and tenant placement company as well. So we can tenant Section 8, room rentals, co-living, short-term rentals, like we can do it all. So it's a really full service model that we've scaled out for investors. We got people in from Canada, New Zealand, Hawaii, Texas, LA, like people from all over the country are tapped in, and we're building houses for them in Philly, the sixth largest city in America. So it's been highly successful, and I can't, unfortunately, it's like one of the least scalable things I do, because it's like I can't build houses for everybody. So it's really an exclusive group. I try to keep it small enough so that there's enough deals to go around for everybody, and everybody can do multiple deals and scale their operation out of town.
That's amazing. So you're primarily focused on Philadelphia at this point?
Yeah, and it's not that I can't expand it. I am in discussions to expand into some of the other areas I like Delaware, Jersey, Baltimore, Cleveland. I have connections in Cleveland. I could do it in Cleveland as well. But there's that thing called quality control. And when I take somebody else's time and energy and capital, and we don't own in the houses. We're truly building them for you. You own 100% of it. But when I do that, I want to do it with the most battle tested systems that I have. And in Philly, it's like I've done over 250 deals there. You don't get more battle tested than my Philly team. So it allows me to provide the highest quality of service. And that's important to me. I don't want to do anything where I can't provide a quality of service that I'm satisfied with and that I'm happy with.
And what are your goals for, say, the next 5 years or 10 years?
More of the same. They say the reward for good work is more work. And the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. You can get distracted in this real estate game, but I'm not distracted. I'm doing me. I'm doing my mission. There are other missions. I could, flip houses in Center City with the same guys because we're doing the same process. But, the next 5 to 10 years is just more of the same mission, scaling up, building other developers, building communities, and just teaching more and more people. I look back at, what I've done in the last few years of just, mentorship and how many people I've helped. And I'm like, man, I got to do more. I just want to do more. So it's just staying locked in and waking up every day and putting out more fires and helping more people. So I get to live my dream. So I just want to do more of it.
That's awesome. Tell us, how can people reach out to you? Tell us about your YouTube channel, etc.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Brian Loves Cash Flow. That's easy to remember because I love cash flow. So Brian Loves Cash Flow on YouTube. Instagram, Brian Grimes _247 CFU for the 24/7 Cash Flow University. TikTok at Grimes Estate on TikTok. All these, and LinkedIn, Brian Grimes Real Estate. All of these channels backtrack to a website with a free training, www.workwithgrimes.com /cash flow, workwithgrimes.com /cash flow. It's a free real estate training. It'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on the dollar all across the country. You don't want to miss out on that free offer.
Before I let you go, I got to ask you about one story. In one of your YouTube videos, you mentioned that in high school you played with LeBron James. But earlier on this phone call, you mentioned the name Michael Jordan. In your opinion, is it Michael or LeBron?
Jeez, that is so tough. I would have to say I'm a LeBronite is what you would call us. So I got to go with LeBron. And I'm kind of a tweener in terms of era. I mean, nobody's fiercer than Jordan. But LeBron to me is, from a longevity standpoint, he's just a different animal. I think even the gifts that he was blessed with physically are different. Like the level he's able to play at now is just different. Some of this stuff is God given. Is he a better scorer than Michael Jordan? No. Is he fiercer than Michael Jordan? No. But as a total well-rounded player, I mean, he's incredible. As a physical specimen, he's incredible. I mean, there's just playing, against him, seeing his career and being a witness in that sense. I mean, the guy is just incredible. So I got to go with LeBron, and who knows how long he'll play? Maybe he'll play another 5 years. Who knows? Who knows with this guy?
Brian, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. I love your story. Congratulations to your success, and maybe in the future we'll have you on again.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Gabe.
Hey, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Money Seed Podcast. Please remember to click like and subscribe. It really helps spread the message to other investors, and it helps attract new viewers to the show. We appreciate your support. Thanks very much.